all the millennials in the room, please raise your hand. Is anyone besides me tired of millennial bashing? Raise your right hand. I know this is my left. I want you to mirror me. Yes, 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 yes. In a former life, I was a teacher. This is how we do it. I promise to never bash another millennial unless they really and truly deserve it. Have you noticed that our workplaces look substantially different than they did a few years ago? Do you remember when the key perks to climbing up the company ladder was the esteemed corner office with the view and a door? The higher you were, the bigger your office got, and the more respect you deserved. Welcome to the 21st century. Now you go into a workplace and no one's got an office, and no one wants an office, because we have gone from the age of the cowboy into the age of the collaborator. I've written a book on bridging the generation gaps in business, and when I was doing that, it caused me to go down the road of research. So that's all in my book. It's fabulous. You'll love it. Okay, so we've got, just to help you define, there were actually two sections of baby boomers, but for ease of this, we're going to say that baby boomers stopped in 1965. This is birth year. Generation X was born between 65 and 80-ish, always with the ish. The millennials were born from 80 to 2000, and following now are millennials, we have the up-and-coming Generation Z, also known as the Edgers. Generation Z is as different as Generation Y was to their predecessors. Similar, but very different. Where once we walked into a workplace and we were quite happy to begin in the mailroom and work our way up the corporate ladder, yes? Well, folks, mailrooms don't even exist anymore. Furthermore, we have the millennials being the chosen generation to not only harness, but use and embrace the onslaught of technology. There are other causes for millennial behavior, and millennials do behave differently, and they have every right to. Ladies, we're the ones who are going to bring us out of this confused state in the business workplace. We have raised our children to be leaders. We have told them since they came out the hatch that they were special, destined for greatness. We have told them over and over, whatever you choose to do, I will support you. The pendulum does swing, doesn't it? When I was a little girl, children were to be seen and not heard. Children were to come out, do their little trick of their dance, or sing their little song for their parents to impress their relatives, and then go away while the grown-ups played their canasta and drank their rye and smoked the endless cigarettes. Oh, my times have changed. My sister was born in 1966. At that time, in the world of natal care, by the time children were 6 months old, they were all ready to be on everything except eggs. Now we breastfeed them until they're 18. We walk them to school in grade 9. Oh, I'm not kidding. I'm really not kidding. And do you want to know why we walk them to school in grade 9? Because they still want us around. And we're so grateful for the moments that are so fleeting that we have with our children. Our children are only borrowed to us. And when they want us, we go, oh, yes, please. And our little dopamine meter goes off. You know dopamine? Nature's pure and unrefined feel-good juice. Dopamine is so addictive. Let's see what dopamine does. Dopamine is a hormone. It's released during pleasure. No, I don't want any of that. No, don't give me any of that. For our young people, dopamine is so addictive, and they will do anything to get their next fix. Guess what? It's not just our young people. Mothers and fathers, grandparents do anything to see the little treasured one just smile at us. And the dopamine goes, yeah, jackpot. And we are happy. All of these changes and the swinging pendulum began with the easy accessibility and acceptance of birth control. That was the big step. It wasn't until 1972 that the Supreme Court recognized every woman's right to birth control regardless of marital status. Well, let me think. In 1972, and then the millennials started being born. Our millennial babies were chosen. We decided to have these children. We chose the right time, the right place. Our houses were stable, our jobs were stable. The economy was right. We're going to have our child. And the child was the treasured one. We created these great, have you ever worn one of those packs for carrying your baby around with you? I'm a hunchback, I got a child on. And the children absolutely doted on all that attention, but so did we. We loved that our children needed us so badly. To this day, parents are driving their children to first-year university to make sure they get to their classes safely. They get on the bus with them to make sure they know where they're going to university. Millennials, however, are not sissies. No matter how much we tried to spoil them rotten, and we did, they refuse to be spoiled. They refuse to live in their parents' footsteps. Millennials are brilliant. Each and every one of them. I defy anybody well, of course, nobody here is my age, but even a little bit younger than me. I defy any of us to have adapted to the onslaught of technology and this worldwide knowledge bearing down on them with every step they took. Could we have done any better? When I was teaching, okay, I taught drama and music. Can you tell? I could conduct you if you like. We wouldn't have done any better at all. In fact, many of us would have just crawled into our little hidey holes and said, no computer in my house. My parents are 90. My father will not have one of those machines in his house. That's how they know what you're doing. Lest you think I'm kidding, my father still has a rotary phone. Because as soon as you get that touch tone thing, they keep track of you. Our millennials had to embrace, and embrace they did. The world knows everything that they think. How's that for raw vulnerability? Generation X, as a result of the Cold War and all that kind of stuff, lived in a world of secrecy. Because there could be Russians, there could be spies. Hide what you've got. In come the millennials that go, like, I'm here, dude. Love me, love me, love me. And we do. And we do. And the dopamine switch gets activated by both parties both ways. The problem is that when we get into the world of business, it all falls apart, doesn't it? You want to know why? Business is still primarily the world of the left-brained men. Not that we aren't both, but men are predominantly left-brained and women are predominantly right-brained. Yes? Yes. So here come our children who, by virtue of the rise of women power, which we deserve, meant that they heard more of the right-brained influence than of the left brain. Fathers were no longer, wait till your father comes home. They were quite happy to give that up and let mom take care of that too. So now not only are the influences from the positive, but also the nice right-brained direction for dealing with discipline. Now they go to school. Guess who the majority of teachers are? Women. More right brain influences. And here's where we get, and the kids hated this. Millennials, all of you wonderful people, did you please raise your hand and tell me that you absolutely loved for everybody to get participation ribbons and nobody gets to win? I don't see any hands. But the women thought it was fair and just and right. Everybody wins. Enter the world of business, and you know what we get? We get bosses who do not hand out participation ribbons, nor do you get any prizes for second place, and you better believe that they are keeping score. What we've created is a very round world of business into which we are now trying to fit our very square millennials. They're not fitting because they weren't raised to fit into that world. So who do they need as bosses then? Who do they need to mentor them? Who do they need to pick them up when they fall? Because they have every right to expect that. We have always been their safety net, and men have come right along with us. Thank you very much. They're quite happy, in the Western world at any rate, to have women becoming equal. We're making great strides. My husband is this big man. He was thrilled to death that I didn't make him come home and say, deal with your children, deal with them, that I could handle it myself. So now we're in the workplace, and these men don't know what to do with these very right-brained ladies that are coming into their workplaces. They're right-brained boys. Now, we have definite male influences too. The difference is that they're more equal. Instead of our young people being preened and nurtured to go into the left-brain business world, the entire business world has been turned on its head. We're used to dealing with businesses like a triangle, with the epitome of power on the top and the working masses down at the bottom. That's why we had to climb the ladder to success, climb up the sides of the pyramid. Today, think more King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Everyone wants to be involved. Everyone wants continual collaboration because that's what they're used to. And why should they not? And here's the thing. We are only as good as the sum of our parts. Isn't that a better system anyway? It takes more time. That's why businesses don't like it. Businesses want to have decisions made and let's go. Our new generation of workers are saying, you want me to toe the company line, then I had better have a say in creating that line. That seems kind of fair to me. Maybe I'm wrong. But if I'm going to go work for a company, I want to know that their values are the same as my values. Otherwise, I'm not going to be there long. And millennials and their upcoming Generation Zs, their counterparts, know that they know more than the grown-ups that they're working for. They are technologically astute. They make technology do their bidding, and we are living in the age of technology. You have a problem with any computer issue? Ask any 8-year-old. My grandchildren know how to make the remote work. I don't. Generation Z is coming up. They're barking at the door of the employment situation. Generation Z has encompassed and are living green. They were born with 2 cords, metaphorically speaking, the umbilical cord and an electrical cord for all their devices. They have never known a world where there wasn't a computer in every home. And in fact, children without cell phones are considered disadvantaged. They care as much about a tsunami in Port Alberni as they do on the coast of Singapore. Because the person they've been talking to for half their lives via Skype and Zoom and all their other electronic things, they're as close to them as they are here. Generation Z would rather work for less perks, fewer benefits, lower wages, and worse working conditions than to give up on the ideal of green. The company today that embraces worldwide care and nurturing is the company that is going to hire the best of our new talent. And women, we're the bosses that are going to lead them there.